Hey, what's up, chitheads? Big Dog here with Shoot the Chit, and today we're going to be doing a review of the TST Defender e-bike. So this is a budget-oriented e-bike offering. As of right now, this bike sells for $11.99. If I have any coupon codes or discounts for you, I'll put that in the description of this video, down there somewhere. But guys, don't go just rushing out right now and order one already. Let's go ahead and go over the specs and features and take it for a test drive, and then you can make your informed decision. That's enough small talk, right? Let's go ahead and get right into it. So here we are up close and personal with the TST Defender. And right away, you'll probably notice this bike looks different than a lot of the e-bikes you probably see around. And that's because this frame has an integrated battery port for it. So it gives it a more sleek look than a lot of the bikes you're used to seeing where the batteries are just strapped onto the outside of the frame. And this bike has some fairly decent components, which I think is going to set it apart from the competition a little bit. Go ahead and start out with the components right here at the rear. This is a 1300 watt Soto branded brushless geared hub motor, and paired with a 7-speed Shimano tourney derailleur, 48 volt, 15 amp hour battery, which is a bit on the small side. A lot of the batteries you see these days are 20 amp hours and above. TST offers additional batteries for this bike for a curiously low price of $199. So you could double your capacity on this bike for additional $200. Battery on this bike is removable. To do that, you stick the key in the port here, unlock it, and there's a little tab on the front here you can remove to just pop it right off. This bike is rated at 71.65 pounds. So this bike is significantly lighter. A lot of these fat tire e-bikes are going to be right around 85 pounds and up. So this bike is lighter, and just picking it up and moving it around, I can tell you guys, I do notice that. This bike is equipped with 180 millimeter hydraulic disc brakes front and rear, aluminum frame, has this graphic here. I couldn't tell you what that logo is. It's a bit weird. I don't really know what that is. Can you guys identify what that says? This is a TST Defender. This doesn't look like it says TST or Defender, but hey, it looks kind of cool. Got some nice graphics. This Defender here, tstebike.com. This bike is equipped with 26 by 4 inch Chow Yang fat tires. It has this rear rack here, which is rated at 25 kilograms. Plastic fenders, front and rear. Seat here, I can tell you the seat is a little more firm, but this seat is more traditional, like a mountain bike style, which kind of fits the aesthetic of this bike, because overall, this bike looks more like a traditional mountain bike than a lot of the e-bikes you see out there. It has a front suspension fork, which is not adjustable. Up here on the cockpit, this is a rather minimalist setup, especially when it comes to the display. But go over here. It has these rubberized grips. These feel very grippy. Thumb throttle, Radius branded hydraulic disc brake levers. These feel pretty good, and they just look like they're a decent quality unit. I'm not familiar with this brand, but overall, right here, it feels good, and it looks like there's adjustments for the handles as well. It has a 7-speed twist shifter here. And I haven't ridden a bike with a twist shifter in an extremely long time. So as of right now, the jury is out on this, but I do like that it doesn't have that same Shimano 7-speed shifter that almost every other e-bike has. So that brings us to the display here. To turn on this bike, you're going to hold the power button here. Kind of follows the minimalistic motif of this bike. And honestly, guys, I'm not mad at it at all. Well, it's nice to have color displays. You only have a certain amount of information you need when you're riding these bikes. And let's face it, you're not going to be sitting there looking at your screen most of the time. You're going to be looking at where you're riding. So this is a very simple display. It has your pedal assist levels here. Your plus and minus to toggle through. And it has 5 pedal assist levels. It has your headlight button here. To just turn on the headlight, you hold down the power button here. This bike has a cute little headlight. It's pretty small. Speedometer and your pedal assist level and your battery level. I do prefer when these bikes have the voltage readout so you know exactly how much power is left. TST states this bike will fit a rider from 5'3" to 6'4", and this is what a 6'2" rider looks like on the TST Defender. All right, guys, that's the specs and features of the TST Defender e-bike. Well, what do you say we stop doing the boring part and let's go do the fun part and take it for a ride? Come on, guys, let's get going. All right, guys, we are out on the TST Defender, and first things first, the first thing I did, this was set to kilometers per hour, and the throttle was set to cut off at 20 miles an hour, so I immediately changed those 2 settings, and it's pretty easy to do that. Tap the plus and minus at the same time. Now the P1 setting, if you change that to 1, it's kilometers per hour, 0 is miles per hour, and P3 here, if you turn it to 1, it enables the throttle to go up to 28 miles an hour, making this class 3. So that's all the settings I did, and right away, let's get going. So first things I noticed on this bike where the brakes feel pretty good. It took me a couple pulls to bed in the brakes, but after they bedded in a bit, these brakes feel pretty nice. One thing I'm noticing right away, okay, I'm in pedal assist 1 right now, and it doesn't seem like pedal assist 1 is limiting the power very much. So this bike feels pretty powerful in pedal assist 1, and I'm going all the way up to 19, 20 miles an hour in pedal assist 1. So it's kind of seeming like you can go full speed in any pedal assist setting on this bike. I'm in pedal assist 2. I don't know that I feel much of a difference between these pedal assist settings. This bike feels pretty quick, I'll tell you that much. This bike feels significantly lighter than most e-bikes I ride. Now that I'm out in the sun, you can see this paint job has like a nice flake to it. So it's got like a little more depth when you see it outside. Looks pretty nice. Did forget to mention, this bike is available in 2 colors. This black that you see here, and it's available in a gray color as well. The lighter weight of this bike is definitely evident. You can pick up the front end of this thing pretty easy. Where like a lot of e-bikes, you're gonna slip a disc trying to pull the front end off the ground. So this bike being 71 pounds is definitely noticeable. And another thing, this shifter here, I'm so very used to having the typical thumb shifter that all of these bikes have. So this one, you twist it, and it gives kind of a nice feedback to it. You can hear, I don't know if you can hear it in the video, but it gives a nice click to it, and it's pretty firm, so I don't feel that shifting is going to be accidental. Just got to get used to, you know, which way to shift, to upshift, and which way to go down. But other than that, it feels good so far. Wish this bike had a wattage readout so I could tell how much wattage it's putting out, because like I said already, it feels like no matter what pedal assist level you're in, it's putting out the same amount of power no matter what. There's this little readout on the bottom that kind of shows power with the meter, so I'll keep an eye on that. But as of now, I honestly can't feel the difference between the pedal assist levels. These grips, these feel super grippy. So they definitely feel like my hands wants to stick to these grips. It's not the same. These are a little bit different than most of the grips I've seen on these e-bikes. And I'm telling you, these handles, these hydraulic disc brakes, they feel pretty nice. And these handles look to be adjustable, so you can bring the handle in and out depending on your hand size or what your preference is. So far, yeah, this bike feels pretty nice. This thing is showing 4 out of 5 bars, and it's been showing 4 out of 5 bars since I rode it. I had it on the charger all morning. It was fully charged, so that's another thing I mentioned with these. You can never really trust the battery readouts on these e-bikes, which is why it's nice to have the voltage readout. So let's take this thing off-road here. Now I put flat out in these tires, and I put flat out in all the tires in my e-bikes now, because these fat tires unfortunately are prone to running over things and getting flats. So just want to let you guys know that. Definitely recommend some flat protection on your e-bikes. As expected, this bike's making easy work of the rocks. Cruising right along. Definitely noticing this bike feels more nimble than the typical 85-pound e-bikes that I'm used to riding. So here you are, I'm 6'2", like I mentioned before. This is what it looked like on the TST Defender here. Do notice I mentioned that there's a nice sparkle in this paint that is very evident when you see this in the sunlight. This has a front fork that is not adjustable, and I have noticed already I bottomed it out a few times. So don't expect a whole heck of a lot from this front suspension, but you know, it does help take up some of the bumps. It just doesn't have a whole bunch of travel to offer you. And here's what we're gonna look like riding around on the TST Defender. Like I said, I think this is a pretty nice looking bike, and the frame definitely sets this apart from a lot of the fat tire e-bikes you see. So if you're looking for something a little different looking, you know, maybe this is the bike for you. I think it's a pretty nice looking bike. You know what, guys? I think I figured out the pedal assist settings on this bike. So it seems that pedal assist 5 now, even if I'm just barely pedaling, it just cranks all the power in. But on the lower pedal assist settings, it'll kick in, but it's just not giving me as much. But it seems like if I get the cadence up, no matter what pedal assist setting I'm in, it just gives me all the power either way. So it's a bit weird. I'm not usually, first time I've experienced one that's set up like this, but that's how it is. It just seems that at the lower speeds, the lower pedal assist settings give you less power, but no matter if you're pedaling faster, it's going to give you all the power regardless. So it's a bit interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what effect that has on battery life. So this bike definitely feels more nimble than most of these B-bikes I test. It feels pretty quick too. I mean, it's 1300 watts. You know, I'm in pedal assist 2 right now. We're doing 23 miles an hour. We're just zipping right along, no problem at all. I do notice that I can just hop right over obstacles on this bike, whereas those heavier bikes, you kind of just plow through everything. So I really like the fact that you can just pull the front end of this bike up without slipping a couple vertebrae. So out of the box, the throttle was set to go a maximum speed of 20. Now I have it set to do 28. Let's see if we can get the 28 on throttle only. 15, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24. This throttle seems like it wants to get me to right about 24 miles an hour. But I'm guessing if you're a lighter rider, you'd probably have no problem getting up to 28. This bike's cooking right along. We're going like 23, 24 miles an hour. You know, the throttle alone, I was getting around 24. Now I'm pedaling just a little bit and I'm cruising at 24, no problem. So this bike feels pretty powerful and pretty quick. Unfortunately, that's going to come at a downside because this says it's rated at 1300 watts and this battery works out to be about 720 watt hours. So that means if you're cranking this thing at full throttle, you can burn through this battery in roughly a half hour. Ooh, that was scary, guys. Granted, nobody's going to be holding the throttle wide open for a half hour, but just wanted to bring that to your attention. So the range on these bikes is so dependent on the way you ride that it's so hard to estimate a realistic range number. We just got done with some trails. Let's take the TST Defender out onto the street. Oh yeah, this bike definitely feels a lot, just way more playful than the heavier counterparts. It reminds me of riding a bike when I was a kid. Jumping off of curbs, playful, zipping around, easy to maneuver. It feels good. And one thing I noticed, there's no rattles on this bike. I don't hear the rack rattling around. I don't really hear the fenders rattling around. The battery's nice and solid in there, so this bike is really quiet. So I'm starting to notice this bike really likes to cruise right around 20, 22 miles an hour with fairly minimal effort on my part. I'm pedaling, but I'm not putting a whole lot of effort into it. Really enjoying the nimbleness of this bike. I've already mentioned it a few times now, but the more these brakes are bedded in, these brakes feel surprisingly really nice. I wish we'd see brakes like this with adjustable handles and stuff on more bikes. As you can hear there, the front fork bottomed out. So, you guys mentioned before, not the most traveled. Oh man. So I'm really appreciating how quiet and smooth this bike is. So it makes like almost no noise at all from the suspension or chassis itself, unless you're bottoming out the front fork. And the brakes are not squealing, which is nice. Let's see, I'm gonna crank it up to pedal assist 5 and see. Let's see if we can hit 28. I'm giving it some juice myself now, some juice. 26. We're on a slight uphill here. Looks like I'm getting to right about 26 before I'm topping out. Let's get off the street and get back onto the bike trail. What do you say? I have to say it's taken me a little bit to adjust to this thumb throttle. I'm so used to using the hand throttle that it's throwing me off just a little bit. So I have to think about it before I hit the throttle rather than just instinctively hit the throttle. Look at these trails, guys. You could be out on these trails too if you had a TST Defender. Oh man. I did this last week and I regretted it, and here I am again doing the same thing. Making the same mistake again. Does it look like I'm going fast in the video? Because it, kind of feels like it in person, that's for sure. The lighter weight is slightly confidence inspiring. So I don't feel like I'm plowing into the bumps as much, even though this front fork It doesn't offer a ton of suspension, not as heavy, so you just kind of glide over the bumps easier. Zipping right along here, we're still showing 4 out of 5 battery bars. As an e-bike reviewer, sometimes I'm not wanting to go out and ride and do a review, and that's kind of how it was today. And now that I'm out riding, I feel great. Now I'm having fun. I really appreciate the position I'm in, and I don't take it for granted. All right, time for the brake test. We can get up to about 20 miles an hour here and just crank on the brakes. Oh man, these brakes feel really good. Nice and solid. So yeah, these brakes are one of the highlights that stand out to this bike. They feel really nice. The handles feel nice and solid. So yeah, this bike has no problem stopping at all. So far the seat's definitely firmer than your traditional e-bike seat. It's not a big, comfy, cushy seat. This is more of a traditional mountain bike seat, but it's not bad. I rode a bike last week that had a seat that was more similar like this, and it was terrible. So this one's not bad at all. I wouldn't bother changing the seat on this bike personally, but seats are very subjective. All right, time for everyone's favorite hill test. This is the Antioch Incline. I don't know the grade because I was educated in Antioch as well. So I'm just gonna start off in pedal assist 3 because like I said, I think this thing just puts out the same power regardless. Okay, it's struggling a little bit in 3. Let's go up to 5. Yeah, I don't feel any noticeable difference. We're still doing it though, but I'm definitely putting some input from my legs as well. But you know what guys, the TST Defender is gonna be able to make it up this hill. And we're just cooking right along guys, 9 miles an hour. So this is not the best climbing bike. It'll get you up hills, did an adequate job if you ask me. So in my opinion, this bike is more well suited for stuff like this. Rolling, flowy trails, gravel, you know, take your pick of terrain. It's gonna make easy work of it. This is a little PSA and nothing to call out this bike company specifically, but this is like the 3rd or 4th bike now that I've had trouble with the left crank arm coming loose. So luckily for me, I travel around with a toolkit, but I don't know what's going on that I've had to do this so much. Maybe I pedal harder than the rest of the people out there. But guys, this is definitely PSA. Definitely get yourself a toolkit when you ride around because you don't want to get yourself stuck on the trail, that's for sure. Let's do a little bit of a spirited riding. What do you say? Maybe some stuff that TST wouldn't advise their people to do, but hey, we live unrestricted on this channel. Not everyone wants to go for a nice, slow Sunday ride. Some people want to go have a little fun, right? Let's take this little downhill section here. Zipping right along. So I guess cows do enjoy the tires on a TST Defender. I'm now one of the herd. Guys, they don't suspect anything. This bike is just... What you can't quantify as much on this bike is just fun. It's eating up these trails, no problem. I do wish the front fork would have more travel. I mean, you can upgrade the front fork. This bike feels solid, fast. Little jump here. Kind of looking forward to the time when all this stuff is not so green. Drop it in. You know, for a hardtail bike, this is doing much better on these trails than I would have anticipated. Ooh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So there you have it. It's the TST Defender. Some things I really liked about this bike. First off, I really like that it's lightweight. I found myself being able to go up and over obstacles. It was very confidence inspiring. The brakes on this bike are very awesome, especially for the price point. The fit and finish of this bike, it's nice. It's a nice smooth ride, quiet, and it's light. Some things I don't like about this bike, first off, the front fork doesn't offer very much travel, so I found myself bottoming it out very easy. Secondly, the pedal assist system on this bike is a bit weird, so it seems like no matter what setting you have it in, you end up getting full power almost all the time. And thirdly, the smaller battery on this is definitely you're not going to get as much range as you would with a heavier, full-figured e-bike. So who's this bike for? I think this bike is for somebody who wants to just zip around, have fun, jump around, and not spend a ton of money. Who's this bike not for? This bike is not going to be for somebody who likes to go bike packing or put a ton of stuff on their bike and want to have a ton of range. But overall, $1,199, I think this bike's a good value. So if you're interested in buying one, you can use the link in the description of this video. And if I have any coupon codes or discounts for you, I'll put them there as well. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll catch you in the next video, okay? See you girls later. Some of you are boys too. Sorry if I misgendered any of you. Anyways, bye guys. We'll catch you in the next video, okay?